guys, and welcome back to another episode of Total Control with SD Huesca. Now, today is a big one because today is our first game of the season, our proper first league game. We are hosting, or are we? Yeah, we are. We're hosting Athletic, and that is going to be a tough game. I'm not really sure where they're expected to finish. We can have a look at that, of course. But let's face it, we're going to be the underdog for virtually all games we play this season. But we've got to get points from somewhere, and we've shown a lot. Over the last two matches against Anderlecht and Sassuolo, we've made them look pretty ordinary, particularly against Sassuolo. Now, I know they weren't playing their first team, full strength teams and all that, but still, we were really able to, when teams actually had a crack at us, we were able to catch them on the break, get some good, hard-working moves together, and I think there's a lot of positives to be said coming into the season, given that we only conceded one goal in pre-season, and that was a banger. So for a start, we're scoring some long-range shots, which is actually a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Admittedly, only 1 out of 5 over these two games, but it's still nice to see that we've got that in us. None of our shots, we're blocking all the long ranges, which is nice to see. We've restricted to 1 goal from 40 touches in the penalty area. Now, I'd like to restrict the touches in the penalty area a little bit, because the less of those we get, in theory, this wouldn't be so impressive if we were just having less touches overall. But what I would say is we've scored 6 goals from 26 shots inside the penalty area, which is not bad at all, to be perfectly honest. We're getting some good shots in good places, and that is pleasing. And we're just getting a good number of touches anyway. Defending well down that left-hand side particularly, which is really, really nice to see. Now, of course, we did sort of tighten things up a little bit against Sassuolo, which might well be the reason for that, because you can see... actually, you can see, like, Sassuolo were clearly trying to force that issue, because they had way more attempts at it than Anderlecht did. So firstly, the sheer number of shots is a massive increase, and you can see way higher concentration of shots in good places. Yeah, we got the occasional one from the edge of the area. A lot of these, I would imagine, were free kicks, although we do get, obviously, the 2 goals in here as well. There was an increase in the number of crosses too, from decent positions as well, not just from set pieces, which is quite a bonus as well. You can see, like this one, I believe is probably a free kick. Actually, probably not, actually. We're actually completing some crosses too, and I think Gallego's inputs definitely helped with that. Although, did he actually? Yeah, he did start against Sassuolo, didn't he? Our heat map, we're still not getting the ball in like crazy good areas, but it's better. There's way more red in a good area. We've got a little bit more at the back here, which is to be expected, as you would imagine. If we actually just look at the pass map, though, you can see, if we just move the crosses one off, that there is actually passing. The passing is taking place way closer to the opposition's box. There's passes happening within the opposition's box, which were not happening before in any stretch of the imagination. And into these corner areas, we're really pushing up a lot more. And it just seems to be a way more effective way of playing. We're getting up the pitch further because players are getting forward further. We're making more incisive passes in much more dangerous areas, which I think is creating better opportunities for us, both on the break and from open play, which is allowing us to have more of the ball. And this is against Anderlecht. It's exactly the same. If anything, it's actually even more stark against Anderlecht. You can see way more passes in good positions. Okay, you can ignore this down here because this is probably from set pieces. But there's good passes being taken place in the box. There's a lot of stuff in this D. A lot more passes and general action is happening inside their box. And again, the pass map is very, very similar with the heat map. So from a defensive side of things, I'm actually quite happy with the setup that we currently got. It's the default one that seems to work reasonably well. What I don't like so much is the fact that you don't have a lot of options as far as getting forward goes. Now, that's what we got to kind of try and change. First thing we're going to do is put Juanpi here as the stay further forward player, because he's got way more pace than Gallego does. I'm also going to put both of our wingers up. That way we leave 2 players up, which will give us a way better chance of breaking on teams when we actually do get those balls away from corners. Now, it might make us a little bit more soft from corners themselves, but it means we're going to be more of a threat from our own defensive corners, because I noticed we were heading the ball away a lot, but there wasn't enough players in good areas to actually pick the ball up. No, we don't want Juanpi here. We want... Apologies. There we go. We want... Gaillard here, because he's got decent pace and reasonably good passing, which means when we get those headers away, which we're obviously going to get at some point, he will be the one that can get onto the ball. But when he does, and he does pick the ball up, we've then got 2 more players up the field, which we can then really break on teams with numbers. And I'm hoping that we can engineer some opportunities like this from our own defensive corners. So I'm just going to put it in on both sides. So we've got that as an option now. Now I want to do something for free kicks too. These are the ones we tend to struggle with. Now, once again, this is a terrible set of... there's no point in having him here. If anything, I'd rather have Juanpi and Gaillard further up the pitch. That way they can break if we need to. So what I've done is I've changed everybody to man mark except for our tallest and strongest centre-back in the air, who is going to mark tallest player. That way, because the problem we often have with these set pieces is that the AI can cluster loads of players to the back post, which I can't get our team to do. But it's also difficult to defend against, so we're going to have to man mark because it's the only way that we can actually get them to pick those players up. Now, it's going to be a bit of a risk, but I think it's the only way we're going to be able to deal with that, because we do, and all of my teams this year have looked vulnerable from set pieces from this exact area, and I think this is the best way to deal with that. So you can see our setup for training this week. Pretty damn solid, really. We've got some recovery sessions in there, match tactics, we've got defensive shape, match preview, of course. A lot of recovery sessions just to try and get everybody fit and fresh, ready for the start of the season. Everyone's match fit that's going to play. but I want them to be really raring to go. Also, I'm interested, guys, how do you set up your training? Those of you that actually do this by hand, what sort of methodology do you use to set up your training? I'm very interested to hear, because I'm learning all about this and slowly coming up with my own methodology, but I want to know what you do and why, so do let me know in the comments. Playing a very attacking system. We've got Inaki Williams and Muniain in there. Obviously, you've got lovely Aduris up top. There's going to be a gap in the midfield here, which we should be able to get into these spaces in the wide areas. Like, there's going to be a massive gap, but they've got an inside forward too. Right, this is going to be important to look at stat packs and all this jazz now. It's going to be great. Swedish striker playing for Frankfurt. Decent technique. His off the ball is pretty solid. He's got really decent composure as well. I think in the next video, we're going to take a little look at some loan signings to try and get a few more in before the window shuts. Striker stats aren't amazing, but he is fairly quick. And he's not got a huge amount of wages if we were to sign him on loan. Yeah, except Burnley want us to pay 3.5 million, or they want us to pay an absurd amount of money, basically. Like, Ryan Brewster would be an interesting one, but he appears to have an injury. Torn ankle ligaments. He's going to be out for the season. There's this guy, Ikoma Luis Openda, a Belgian youth player that plays for Club Brugge. Decent pace and acceleration. He's got a lack of jumping reach and stuff like that, but he is just pure pace. It's his finishing I'm concerned about. He's got good composure no matter kind of where that lands. His technique is solid. Off the ball is a bit on the low side, because I think he could be interesting. But I'm going to be honest with you, there is a real lack of players available that are interested in either loans or transfers, to be honest, at the moment. It is really shocking, actually. My main concern is that, unfortunately, we don't have that much knowledge about these guys yet. Like, he could be fast, and looks like he might be, but he would lack composure. I think we're going to have to wait till the end of the getting towards the transfer window a little bit more. So they just beat Sporting. Camacho is complaining again, as you would imagine. The problem we've got is I don't want him to force a move because he's a team leader. I want him to just kind of buckle down. I don't want to do that because he'll probably take that the wrong way. Honestly, at this point, like, what have we got to lose? It's a devious personality as well with the journalist. Let's try an assertive. Let's try and see if he'll prove himself. He's delighted with the comments. Okay, wait, promise? Sorry, give more first team football. Prove yourself, i.e. do better in training. That not, you're good. Well, I mean, I hate that. Like, it should at least tell you what promise you're supposedly giving. I said, willing to give him the playing time provided he proves himself deserving of it. Yeah, means you get the deserving part first, then the playing time. You don't get the playing time and then prove you deserve it afterwards. They're the favourites, without a shadow of a doubt. Everyone will need to contribute. It's not just about Yaya Toure. Been looking forward to this moment. Yep, everyone's in great shape and raring to go. Good stuff. I wouldn't tell them if I did. We're going to make it a real go of it, yeah. I have faith that we can stay up. See if that did anything. Could just be useful for these press conferences. I do think I'm actually finding a purpose for them, for morale boosting. I think, isn't there a way where you can see kind of what effects the comments have had? I swear there used to be a way that you could see what effect things had from these press conferences. Okay, so their opposing manager seems to have been quite complimentary. I'm going to be nice about it, you know. Let's not overdo things here. There's no point in us trying mind games. Not yet, anyway. We might get a feud with someone else later on, though. So someone in the comments asked, what is the one that's fight bravely against relegation? And I believe it's don't be outclassed too often. I think that's the last bottom one on the rung, so to speak. Right. Okay. That's fine. Let's see if this works. Tactics. Go on. Little reaction from the squad. Of course. Sorry, I've celebrated that like a bloody goal. It's happened. The majority of the squad agree with this tactical approach. Pop the champagne, boys. It's happened. Oh, my God. Hang on, advice. What's this? Maybe it's because it was friendlies. The majority of the squad agree with this tactical approach. Come on. I've never celebrated something unnecessarily as much as that. That is glorious. Right. It was just a focus play down the middle. But this is tactical advice, and that's not really something I'm interested in right now. The majority of the squad agree with this particular tactical emphasis. Mother of Christ, it's finally happened. Okay, so 10 o'clock kickoff. I've already had my siesta, and now we're going to go play a football match. Camacho, though, not so much. I'm going to criticise him anyway. Let's see. Okay, well, he's backed his ideas up a tiny bit. Luisinho is a bad trainer, I have to say. And every time I ask him, he's like, I'm not prepared to go over that. Well, stop being rubbish. Even Yaya Toure's up for training better, for crying out loud. Because he's the only one above 8, and that's really nice to see, because he's going to be starting today. When you look at the season preview, yeah, Bilbao are set to come 6th, so this is a really difficult game for us. Just looking at the medical centre, Miero and Rivera, high risk, but when you actually look, he's above average, which is a bit annoying, but Malero's actually below average for the injury risk, potentially. So I think he's fine to start. Acapo, I might be tempted to start Miramon today because of this. Okay, so Acapo, despite being pretty fresh and raring to go, I'm going to start Miramon because of that. Obviously, Echeta can't start, but that's fine because we've got Jorge Pulido. Luisinho or We're at home, but it is a really difficult match. Then Luisinho is so important, but he has got that high injury risk from the heavy match load, whereas Jose Angel doesn't, and I'd be tempted to get him on the bench. Milero, I'm happy to start. I know we got Yaya Toure, but I'm happy to give him the start because he is actually fresh and raring to go. Up top, it has to be Gallego still because Nilmar isn't allowed to play because he's not actually a player for us yet. Juan Hernandez is not back yet, but he will be. So that's going to be nice. Gaia, Juanpi. I think that's pretty much what I want to go with. We're actually building a partnership here too, which is going to be gorgeous. This, however, though, they've got no designated playmaker. They've got no nonsense fullback, so we don't expect them to be coming too far up the pitch, in all honesty. If anything, they look deeper than their centre-backs. It's going to be mostly the front three and sort of separated into two sides. Muniain is the guy we're going to go after like crazy because he's clearly going to be the man. We'll let Inaki Williams cross all he wants, but we've got to be careful because of Aduriz because he is a target man. So you could see how well Muniain did in their last game, and it seems like he's going to be their key man. So they go down the right, cross to the back post for Muniain. Of course, now they played a slightly different team without Aduriz, so you feel like they're putting more crosses into there potentially. Instead of blocking the source, I'm going to block the end point of it to try and just get it, because they're going to be aiming the balls in the same places, and if we can just mark those places, they can lump balls in all they want. Delivering to the middle of the penalty area. They never take short corners, so they deliver to the middle, and we sort of have players dotted around that area anyway. Just looking at their goal analysis, in their last 4 matches, they've only conceded 1 goal. It was from outside the box with a placed shot. They tend to, but it's hard to know on that right now because it is so early in the season, but we're looking at their goal scoring. They like a placed shot, penalty area centre, so my guess is they're getting balls into this area for someone like Inaki. I think a deep line might actually work here because we can cover over. So, with that in mind, we're going to go after Muniain like nobody's business, and we're going to just back away from Inaki Williams a little bit because he's a very good dribbler of the ball as far as I'm aware, which means he's going to come pushing past people. I also want to take off San Jose here because we're not going to be marking him up particularly well either because there's not designated playmakers. Moment of truth, essentially, is where we're at right now. I have faith in you. Get out there and make a difference. That's better. More motivational. Don't see affecting the outcome too much, though. Right, here we go. They don't look that fresh in certain areas. Aduriz doesn't look like he's had a long pre-season. Muniain doesn't look that fresh either. He's dangerous, though, that's for sure. Yuri. We're going to be under the cosh, that much we know. It's going to be about what we can do on the break. Ball in, headed away again. Muniain. Blocked again. Okay, good defensive work so far. Even if we got a 0-0 draw here, I would be ecstatic with that because this is not an easy game. This is one of these games I would have earmarked as, if we get anything, then brilliant. Headed goal from a reasonably safe range, though. Bilbao do look very, very imposing. We've got to get back and close that gap. Aduriz with the header, Jovanovic with the save. Whoa. And Aduriz has got it, but he's not the quickest of players, which means that we could actually maybe play a slightly higher line. Finds Juanpi. We've got men in the box. Can Juanpi whip a cross in? Gallego puts it wide. Best chance for us. Well, the only chance for us. I'm actually tempted today, because they've got such a slow striker, to just up our defensive line a little tiny bit. I'm actually going to bring Luisinho on there, because he's essentially a wing-back, and I would like to see us have... He's a better defensive player, probably, than Galan is, and they've got an injury as well. Well played, Musto. That's more like it. Ball into the channel for Juanpi. He's in the box. Can he find a cross? Minamon. Cleared. Milero. Oh, and a good save from Romero. That's more like it. An actual chance created. I'm on edge so much when I play this save, and it's so much fun because of that, because of what's on the line in virtually every game. Aduriz picks it up. It's gone out wide for Muniain. Right, they've caught us on the break a little bit here. We've got to be careful. Oh, Miramon, what a tackle, lad. But I think he's now hurt himself. Thank God we've got Carlos Ocapo. So I rested Ocapo due to the injury issue, potentially, and now we've had 2 first-half injuries. This is not ideal. But what is ideal is us keeping this game tight and not conceding in the first half. They've gone more attacking. That's fine, as to be expected. Rivera. Miero! Oh, what a chance. That was such a good chance for Miero. He has to hit the target there. I'm pretty pleased with where we're at the moment. Nice to see that Inaki Williams has not yet completed a single cross and Aduriz has had no chance but a couple of key headers. Still pretty pleased with the way the game has developed so far. We've had the better chance on the night so far. Luisinho, I think bringing him on was the right choice because look at this. Ooh. Muniain, he's going to whip one in. Oh, God. And Iturraspa gets in there from a free kick. We've defended so well, and it would come from a free kick. They lose their man. He gets across the front of the goalkeeper and the players, and he scores. And they score from a set piece. And maybe those changes we made were not the right ones. That is frustrating as all hell. To defend so well for most of the game and then go down to a free kick like that is not ideal at all, considering how well we've defended from set pieces this season. Juanpi to whip one in. Ball in. It's Sua! Over the crossbar. Great chance. I think we've got to switch to positive because we've got more of the ball. This game is just looking dead and buried at the moment, unfortunately. See what we can do. 10 minutes to go. A goal down. From a free kick, no less as well. That's the most frustrating thing. It's the changes I made, possibly, that could have caused that. Rivera. A capo. Go on, lad. Get a good cross in. Oh, get it in sooner. Why are you waiting? Just minutes to go here. And oh, no. Oh, it's a good sliding tackle. Thank God for that. Up the field. Gallego doesn't win it, but second ball. Ah. We've got it anyway. Juanpi. Over the side for Gallego. He might be able to win us a corner here or something. He has. Okay. One last chance, maybe. Come on. Juanpi's ball. Gallego heads it wise offside anyway. Jose, please get it out of your feet. Juanpi's header. A capo. Get one last ball into the box. Come on, you've got seconds to go. Toure. Please put the ball in the box. A capo. Oh my. Why would you blow the whistle there? Oh, God. We didn't deserve the win. We didn't deserve anything really from it because we didn't play well enough and create enough, particularly in the second half. But my God, we could have got ourselves a 0-0 draw if it wasn't for the bad defending from that free kick. And maybe that's because we tried to man mark and the players weren't good enough at doing it. The problem is you're kind of in a catch-22 because if you don't do that, then they all cluster to the back post and nobody marks anybody. So... But then we haven't conceded a goal from free kick doing that so far, so maybe that's something to revert back to, in all honesty. You've got to live and learn from these things, and that's a frustrating result, because we maybe, on another day, we maybe do get a 0-0 draw out of that and a good point for us, but that's just how it is, unfortunately. I think we can take heart from the fact that we weren't smashed or anything. I'm still pleased with how we played collectively, if it wasn't for that one bad moment. So there we have it. Our first game in the league is a 1-0 defeat at home to Bilbao. It could have been... I feel like it could have been worse, but also we didn't really concede that many high-quality opportunities, and the one goal we conceded was from a free kick indirect. There's a lot of positives, and we did create a chance despite not having that many shots, and it was always going to be difficult against the teams in the very top. That's not the teams we expect to get points against. It's the other teams that are lower down that we've got to start getting points against. That's not too much of a bother for me. We still look pretty solid, so I'm all right with that. If you've enjoyed this episode, next episode is going to be Real Betis. That's going to be a bit more of an interesting one, but it is away from home, so we'll see how we do there. Drop a like on the video, that'd be gorgeous, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.